Welcome to yet another video in the Putting It All Together series. In this video, we are going to be working with interaction on our web page, and in particular, a nice working navigation system that you are expected to put on your future pages and projects. So let's go ahead and get started. Here I have the navigation system for my website. It has this light blue background. When you roll over it, it changes the text from a dark blue bold to a red bold, and it makes this background white, and it rolls over like that, and I can go to whatever page I want. Now you're ready to see something painful. Yes, something painful. Well, here it is. There's the same navigation bar. So what happened to it? Well, all the styles were removed. Technically, they've all been removed off of this page as well, but I didn't refresh it so that I could show you the page working. What we're going to do in this video today is build back this navigation bar so that it looks like this one. And I'm going to talk about what the lines of code do in the CSS. So let's get started. I want to, first of all, before I do the CSS, I want to just point out that all the pages have the same navigation in it, and it's simply this right here. It is nothing big in the HTML pages. The neat stuff is done in the CSS. So what is here in this particular page, and along with all the other pages? It's an unordered list, but I have a class of type navigation, and that means it's going to distinguish it from other lists. If you look on here, I do have another unordered list right here. I don't want that one to be affected, so that's why I'm doing the class navigation, so that I can have other unordered lists in my site. Even if you don't have any other unordered lists, you still want to do this with this class navigation, because if you don't and you ever decide to add an unordered list, it's going to come up looking like a menu bar. So you don't want to do that. So we're going to have that class navigation. And then we have, in this case, 4 list items, the 4 pages with their links and what they are. So what the text should be. So that's all that we have here in all of the HTML pages: the index, the gallery, the restoration, and the contact. So now let's go to the styles. And I have the rules set up, but I have all the lines commented out. So I'm going, like the class navigation has nothing applied to it. They're all commented out. So I am going to add them back and show you what happens as I add them back. And also I may change a few of them a little bit so you see some differences that happen here. So for starters, on the navigation one, I am going to add back background color light blue. So I'm going to take my comments off of that. I'm going to save it. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to, no, not this page, this one. I'm going to refresh it and see there, I've got it back. Notice it's not touching the top, which it was over here, and still it's not formatted well. Something that you may have noticed though over here is this UL also has a light blue background. There is a little bit of overlap here for my CSS, and maybe I should have used a different light blue. There's also a standard rule for UL that sets the background to light blue that I had to comment out also in order for my navigation bar to get rid of the light blue. Because if I just get rid of it up here, it's still applying it from this standard UL tag. So these types of things can happen. You can have a little bit of overlap. I could remove it from up here and just let it be standard for all ULs. But then if I decide later that I don't like the blue background, it's going to change my navigation as well, and I may not want it to. So I'm going to leave it in both spots, but I'm going to leave this one commented out for now in case I want to comment out the navigation one again to show you something as we go along. I don't want to have to go comment this one out too. So just be aware, this one's commented out. I need to uncomment it at the end. Okay, so that gives us the background. So let's go over here again. And now let's do another rule. So I'm going to do the width of 100%. And the width of 100% tells me how long I want it. And I'll save it. And that's what we were currently seeing. But if I change it to 50, oops, not 150, 50%, you'll see here that when I refresh it, it comes down to 50% of the page. I want to go ahead and specify it to be 100%. It was working that way without it, but I want to be complete. I want to specify it to have the width of 100%. Another rule that you are not going to see a result from is this overflow hidden. What happens with overflow hidden is, maybe I can show you here. Let's see, I'm not sure if I can. No, I can't. No, and actually I took out that little rule that made the font go down like that. I got rid of that, but I didn't refresh this page because I'd already set that. But anyway, don't worry about that. But no, the idea here is if I had a really long navigation, I can't close this window up small enough to make this happen. It's not going to overflow and go on top of something else. So that's why I want overflow is hidden. You won't see whatever goes out of its area. So I'll go ahead and take that one off. Again, this one's not going to really be applicable to the browser I have right now and the amount of navigation buttons that I have. But anyway, so, and this is just a comment saying that that's what that next one does. The rest of these are really important, and we will see a lot of results with them. Those were kind of the two that you weren't really going to see much of a result with in my browser. So the next thing we have is, if you look here, I have bullets. So there are two things that need to happen to remove the bullets. So first of all, I can take this off. List style type is none. That in itself should remove the bullets, but I want to show you something that is a little interesting about it. So see, it worked, but watch this. What if I add in padding of 0, or padding at 0 pixels? So let's add in padding at 0 pixels. So I'm going to save this. You can probably guess what it's going to do. It moved them over there tight against there. Now watch this. What if I put back the bullets? So I've commented out to get rid of the bullets. So by default, they should be there now because I've gotten rid of that line. But look, they aren't there. See, a padding of 0 doesn't give room for the bullets. So if I changed padding to, say, 20 pixels and did this instead, now watch what happens. See how now I have room for the bullets. The bullets are there. But if I take this back out and say don't have them, the bullets will disappear again. So in other words, if I have this line setting to have no bullets, the bullets will disappear. I won't have the bullets. But if I do allow the bullets and I have padding 0, I won't see the bullets. So I have to have some padding in order to see the bullets. If I comment this out, one more thing. So I comment out this, but I also comment out padding. It's going to give a default which will show the bullets. So I hope you got all those different combinations of things that can happen. But anyway, it's a little confusing, but just if you need to watch that part again, watch that part again for the different combinations of what you can do. But in our case, we want both. We want to get rid of the bullets, but we also, for other reasons as well, we want the padding to be 0. We don't want padding on these. So we'll save that. And now refresh. It's over there on the side, no bullets. Getting closer to what we want. Now, a margin of 0. Remember, the margin goes around the element itself. So I don't want it to have any. So I'm going to set a margin of 0. And what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of this space here. See, it brought it up. So now it's looking even a little bit more like our good navigation bar. And then the last element in this rule for navigation is text align center. So I am going to do that. Take that out. Save it. And refresh. Now you may say, Mr. Arnold, why are you centering this? It's supposed to be on the left. Well, you're kind of right. It's supposed to be on the left, but look, when I roll over these, do you see how the text is centered within that rectangle? So that's why we need the text to be centered. If it wasn't centered, it'd be to the left. We wouldn't want that of the rectangle. So that's why we have to center it. Right now, the centering looks like we've made a mistake, but we haven't. It's okay. So that is the class for the navigation itself, the unordered list. The unordered list has the navigation rule applied to it. This next rule here is for navigation, that whatever has the navigation class applied to it, and it's a list item. So basically, it's inside of something that has, it's a list item inside of something that's been applied to the navigation class, which, if you look back here, is these list items. They are inside, they're list items, and they're inside an element that's had the navigation class applied to it. So that means it only works for these list elements. It would not work for these list elements because they are not inside of an element that has had the navigation class applied to it. So that's why they stay looking like this. So what I'm going to do is I just have one rule in here for them, and it's float left. So what do you think float left's going to do? It's going to send them all to the left. Okay, now look at that. Now, there's no spacing around these things. You may say, oh, Mr. Arnold, you set the padding and the margin to 0. Remember, that's for the UL. That's not for these list items. So we have to go deeper to change that padding and the margin, or, well, we don't need the margin. We'll just do the padding. That'll be enough. So let's go ahead and go to our next rule, which is what list items, anchor tags that are in list items that have had that are in something that has had the class navigation applied to it. So navigation list item anchor. So that means that it's these, go over here again, it's these anchor tags. So, oops, all the way for there. these anchor tags. Okay, so let's go back and let's look at what we have here. So I am going to, I'm going to add the padding of 15 first. I'm going to do that rule first. Okay, so I'm going to save that and I'm going to refresh. And that moved them over. So it looks better. But I want to get some space down too. And if I use the block from display block, that's going to make each thing on its own line. It's going to give more space. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take off this one. And you're going to see, now these are all next to each other still, but they're in a line in a sense. So they are going to have some space applied with the block. Okay, so now this looks even better. It's looking much closer to our navigation system. Still not there yet though. Text decoration, none. You may say, well, Mr. Arnold, the text is more decorative in what you're doing. Why would you make the text decoration none? The reason I would make the text decoration none is, look at this before I refresh. By default, links are underlined. I don't want them underlined. So I'll come back over here. I'll click refresh. And now the underlines are off. Okay, so that's a good rule to have. Now, my color is dark blue. I believe these are blue by default. It could be dark blue, I'm not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and put my dark blue in. If for nothing else, that this is a rule you would need to have it be the correct color for your site. You'd need to set a color so that you don't get the blue and purple colors of links. So I'm going to save this. And that's also true. I wouldn't want it to change to purple after I visit something either. So there we are, dark blue. They were a lighter blue, so now they look darker. That's good. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the font weight. I'm going to make the font weight bold. So I'm going to save that. Come over here, refresh. Now on the surface, these two look pretty much the same now. Except on this one, I've got rollovers, and on this one, I do not. So what am I going to do about this? Well, I'm going to have to do one more rule, and it's for a hover. An anchor hover that's in a list item, that's in an item that has the class navigation. So of course that is a rollover for one of these links. So what am I going to do? I have three things I need to change. I have a background color that changes to white, and I need to change the font color to red. And was there one other thing I was doing? I have the font weight bold, and I already had it bold. I actually probably don't need that, but we'll make sure. We'll make sure that works without that. So let's check that. Maybe I was a little repetitive there. So let's go ahead and take out the white. So that the comments for the white. So now we have white there. Let's go back to this page, refresh. Now I've got a navigation bar semi-working. I mean, it works right now. I can click to the pages, but it's just not as pretty as the other one. It's worked the whole time. The links are always there, or were always there in my example. color is red. Yeah, see, I don't need the bold because it's already was bold. That was repetitive on my part. You can see if I put the bold in, it's not going to do anything because it's already there. So technically, this line can be taken out. Okay, so that is the basics of the navigation system. I'll show you one more thing here. If from here I go to contact, you'll see that my blue is gone from my unordered list because I didn't add that back. It was only for the navigation UL. So if I go and uncomment this, save it. Refresh, there it is. Now you may say, why was it here all the time in my other tab? Well, I never refreshed this page and that's why I didn't lose it or the navigation system. So now I want you to think about the navigation systems that you may use in your future projects. Think about colors that you could use, both in text and background. Remember to take the text decoration off. You can watch this video again when you're making your first navigation bar to make sure that you get all the rules that you need. And realize that you want the color scheme to be something that sticks out to the user but isn't harsh. And I feel this one is fine. It gets the point across. It's not too overbearing. Some people like to leave the one that's on highlighted. I'm not doing that. I don't like that as well, but I mean, you can if you want to. And you could do that with just a simple class in each of your navigation pages. You could have a special class for a list item, like selected or something, and make a rule for that that would look different so that you could have that one be different. And you could do that. Then on the next page, you'd make in gallery, you would do the list item just for gallery. In restoration, you do the list item just for restoration. And then contact, you do the list item, oops, where'd it go? Just for contact, this one. I hope this video has been helpful to you and that you now can build an awesome navigation bar. I look forward to seeing your navigation bars in your future assignments and your projects. I'll see you in the next video.